안녕하세요. 반갑습니다. 시모빌공입니다. 오늘 강연에 초대해 주셔서 진심으로 영광스럽습니다. 그러면 시작하기 전에 한 가지 양해 부탁드립니다. 제가 한국말을 6개월 동안 배웠는데 아직도 잘 못해요. 믿어주십시오. 당황하지 말고 한국말 듣듯이 어허 하면 끝. The title of my talk today is 탁월함 자기문답으로부터 나온다. But before I start my talk, I would like to tell you a story. This is a story of a young Canadian I met many years ago. When I met him, he was 20 years old and he was a university student. At the time, to pay for his tuition fees, he got a part-time job in a department store selling cameras. You could say today that he was selling cameras at E-Mart, something like that. I got to know him a little bit, and he told me that he absolutely loved his job. The main reason why is that this job allowed him to help his customers choose the right camera for themselves. But he had a very special sales technique, actually a very simple sales technique. Whenever a customer came in the store to buy a camera, before showing them any cameras, what he would do, he would ask the customers some questions, a series of questions in order to understand which camera was best suited for their needs. Now, after asking questions, he would take one camera, like this. He would take one camera, and he would put it in the hands of the customer like this. And then he would say, "Sir, based on what you told me, this is the best camera for your needs." Now, he told me that each time he did that, his customers, their eyes were wide open, and they would look at that camera and they would be absolutely convinced that this was the best camera in the world. Now, this job also made him very proud, because most of his clients were like 2 or 3 times his own age. I mean, he was 20 years old, and despite the fact that his customers were 40 years old or 60 years old, he was able to gain their trust. And that trust through that trust, he was able to influence the way, to help customers pick the right camera. Obviously, you could see that this job was making him, there was a very simple job, part-time job selling cameras, but this job made him very happy and very proud. Actually, he enjoyed his job so much that he actually became quite good at it. Do you know what happened to that young Canadian? Well, today, he is standing in front of you. This is my story. When I was 20 years old, I was selling cameras. Actually, of all the jobs I did in my life, this is probably one of those jobs that I liked the most. And at the same time, around the same period, I was running my own small business. I was selling and buying and selling used pianos from the basement of my parents' house in Canada. Now, that business was a lot of fun. I really liked that business. But so in the basement of my parents' house, I had a showroom, and I had 5 or 10 pianos for sales. I really liked that job. But it also helped me pay for my tuition fees. So, despite the fact that I had a part-time job, which I really liked, And my job, my part-time, my piano business, which made me so happy, I was confused about my long-term career goals. My first year at university, I did my first year in biochemistry. But after 1 year, I realized this is not the right field of study for me. So after 1 year, I was lucky, I was able to change my major to business administration. But basically, I was struggling finding my life direction and defining my career goals. But in the end, I was lucky and I found a career which today I love. In fact, if you look at the work I do today, it isn't much different from what I was doing when I was 20 years old. Now, you might be surprised to hear that, right? Well, let me explain. Today, my main occupation is business consulting. For many years, I've been helping foreign companies when they come to the Korean market. More recently, what I do is I do the opposite. I help Korean companies to go overseas, to do their international business, the global business. Many years ago, I established my own consulting company because I wanted total freedom on the way I'm helping my customers. I do other things. A few months ago, I published a book. This book is meant to help young Korean job seekers develop their global career. I take so much pleasure whenever I meet young job seekers and I can inspire them or I can help them find a global job. I really like that. Look at me today. I'm standing in front of an audience in order to help them understand themselves and help them make decisions in their life. Overall, I consider myself to be extremely lucky because I can do many different occupations, but it all comes down to one simple thing. I like helping other people make decisions. Whether they are big companies or young job seekers, this is what makes me truly happy, and this is what makes me truly proud. Now, you know my story. Just told you my story. You also know what makes me happy, what makes me proud. Let me ask you a question. What about you? What is it that makes you happy? What is it that makes you proud? Have you stopped to think about that? Some of you might be confused. What is it that makes me happy? What is it that makes me proud? You might be confused, and as a result, you might be confused about your life direction and your career goals. Now, I told you earlier that I was confused about my career goals. How did I overcome this confusion? Well, I simply, I looked at what was making me happy and what was making me proud. And, at the time, it was selling used pianos and selling cameras. Deep down at the time, and more recently also, I realized that I'm much more of a businessman than a biochemistry specialist. And once I recognized that at the time, it gave me a lot of confidence that making the decisions to change my major from biochemistry to business administration was the right thing to do. Now, let's get back to you. You might be a job seeker, and you might have 1,000 questions going through your mind. You might say, what is the best suited job for me, right? Or you might ask yourself, in what field of work will I be the happiest or will I be the most successful? Or you may already have a job, and that job might not, you might feel unfulfilled because your job doesn't bring you good satisfaction. You may want to change your job, but you don't know which direction to take. Some other people here might be thinking about setting up their business, but you don't know, what's the right business for me? Finally, some other people might be looking for new and innovative ways to do their work. But you might be afraid of the unknown. We say that creativity is having the courage to overcome your uncertainty. Not knowing where to go or which direction to take is perfectly normal. Having 1,000 questions about your future without clear answer is also normal. There's nothing wrong with that. Wouldn't you like if there was somebody standing next to you? Someone like a caring or understanding personal mentor, somebody who could help you make all those important decisions that are worrying you. Don't you wish you had someone like that? Well, the truth is, there is someone like that. And that person is yourself. Most likely, all the answers to the questions you have are already inside of you. They might be buried deep down, but they're there. If you spend enough time searching and examining your dreams, your passion, what makes you happy, what makes you proud, you'd be surprised at what you can discover. As you know, the title of my talk today is 탁월함은 자기문답으로부터 나온다. I picked that title because it is centered on the questions you should be asking yourself. I call that 자기문답, or self-Q&A. Here's the first two questions you could ask yourself. What is it that makes me happy the most in my life? I mean, it's a very simple question, but a very important question. A second question could be, what is the job or the thing that I did in my life which made me the most proud? Have you thought about that before? Now, this doesn't have to be winning a gold medal at the Olympics. It only has to be a simple thing that made you proud. As I said earlier, I was able to overcome my confusion about my career. And eventually, I found various occupations which are making me happy and proud today. I found answers in what I was doing when I was 20 years old. And today, as you can see, I'm basically still doing the same thing, but I'm doing it in a different country, in a different context, and for other people, for different people. Well, you too can find goals, can find your direction, if you know how to ask yourself the right questions, if you know how to do 자기문답. Here are some other questions you could be asking yourself. What gets me up in the morning? When you lie in bed in the morning, what are the thoughts that cross your mind that want to make you get up? The ones that want to make you act, the thoughts that gives you energy. What is it? The next question you could be asking yourself is, when my friends and my family talk about me, what do they say that I'm good at? I mean, everybody has unique talents, unique abilities. What is it? What do people say about you? Your goals could be crafted by your unique abilities and your unique talents. Your special talents can be everywhere. They are in the things that make you happy and in the things that make you proud. Whenever you do something which gives you energy, makes you really stimulated, you're probably using some of those talents, some of those abilities. They're everywhere. They're right in front of you, your talents and your abilities. Here are some other questions you could be asking yourself, 자기문답. What do I like talking about the most? I mean, that's another way to find out what is it that makes me happy? What is it that makes me proud? Here's another question. Who are my role models? And why are they my role models? I mean, what have these role models accomplished? And why are these accomplishments important to me? And why are they remarkable to me? My own role model is Richard Branson, a British man. He is the founder of the Virgin Group. He is my role model because of the way he overcame so many obstacles before becoming successful. He's also my role model because I admire his amazing sense of creativity. There are many questions you could be asking yourself. But once you start doing some 자기문답, don't feel overwhelmed by all of those questions. Don't feel pressure to come up with clear and definitive answers right away. Take your time. As you gradually think through these questions, your answers will start taking shape. Making decisions about a career or about a job or making other important decisions is a process which goes through gradually through self-reflection. And this is why 자기문답, done over a period of time, is important. My final message to you is learn to ask yourself some important questions gradually and over a long period of time. Over time, you will find your own answer and you will reach excellence. And when I'm talking about excellence, I'm not talking about anyone else's excellence. I'm talking about your own excellence. And that's the excellence which you have defined according to your own criteria of success. That excellence is based on what makes you happy, what makes you proud, and what you're good at, and what your passion is. I call that 내 자신만의 탁월함. But in the end, it's all about discovering your own 내가 있고 싶은 자리, where I want to be. 한국말로 다시 한번 어떻게 말해요? 달아주세요. 내가 있고 싶은 자리. 당신은 자신만의 내가 있고 싶은 자리 어디인지 알아요? 자기문답으로 곧 발견할 수 있어요. 감사합니다. To me, I would define entrepreneurship with using 3 letters C. First C is courage. Second C is confidence. And third C is creativity. And I would go as far as putting another letter, is fun.